What I have here is the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. I'm going to give my review. It's Google's flagship phone, so it's a collaboration between Google, Samsung, and Verizon. As you can see, it's a sleek design, although not unique. No different than the iPhone 4S and how they borrowed from the iPhone 4 body or just continued it. Next to the Nexus, I have the Galaxy S2 Skyrocket, and as you can see, they look exactly the same except for the camera location. The front-facing camera on the Nexus is to the right, whereas on the Skyrocket is to the left. And then the branding on the Skyrocket, as well as the physical buttons, which the Nexus doesn't have. On the back, the Skyrocket has an 8 megapixel camera, whereas the Nexus has the 5 megapixel camera. Why Samsung didn't put the 8 megapixel camera in the Nexus, which was meant to be a flagship camera, I don't know. But besides that, it has a 4.65 HD Super AMOLED screen, contour displayed glass, gives off nice colors, very vibrant. It has 32 gigabytes of storage, very nice. Holds a lot of music, a lot of movies. Memory 1 gigabyte RAM, so when you're scrolling through the device, going through the apps, you really don't have any lag time. As I stated earlier, there's a 5 megapixel camera on this device, which it really doesn't matter if you have a 5 megapixel or 8 megapixel if you're shooting images on the web, or shooting your images and posting them on Facebook or MySpace or Twitter, wherever you put your photos. Only time that there's going to be a difference between 5 megapixels and 8 megapixels is if you're actually printing your photos out. Then with 8 megapixel, you get a bigger print. Other than that, if you're just taking your photos for the web, then 5 megapixel, 8 megapixel, no difference. In the front, there's a 1.3 megapixel camera, so you can use it if you want to do video chat. On the back of the camera, you got the LED flash. There's zero shutter lag, so the camera is pretty responsive. Records in 1080p, as I said earlier, I believe. Micro USB slot for transferring your data. Battery life is decent when not on LTE. Notice I said decent when not on LTE. When you're using this device on LTE, it just kills the battery. You might get like a couple hours of heavy usage. But if you turn off the LTE, you might get, I guess I'd say 5 to 6 hours. The biggest thing about this phone is that it comes with Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich. At the moment, there's no other device on the market that came with Android ice cream sandwich pre-installed. So that's pretty significant because it's meant to be a breakthrough or milestone operating system for Google's mobile devices. Another thing is buttonless. Not even the iPhone is buttonless. It has an accelerometer on it, a gyroscope on it. It has near-field communications, although for some reason Verizon blocked near-field communication. If you don't know the way Google Wallet is supposed to work or does work, if you go into a store and you want to buy something, you just wave your phone in front of a receiver, and it takes your payment. As I mentioned earlier, the phone has a 5 megapixel camera. So it does 5 megapixel still images at max, does 1080p video, and also it does panoramas. You zoom in and out with the slider here. To the right, you got your gallery, so when you take your photos, they save right there. Press the screen to focus. Tap to take a photo. When you check your photo, you got your gallery here, and then you can there's a lot of social integration. So once you take a photo, you can send it through email, post it up in Google Plus, send it to a message. You can also put it up on Picasa or transfer it via Bluetooth, or you can just, like I said, look at it in a gallery. One of the iPhone 4S's claim to fame is that you have the iCloud, so You take something on a device, it's stored, it's stored up in the cloud and accessible from anywhere. Same thing applies to Android devices. So I mean, if you're new to Android, or if you're thinking about coming over to Android, there's really nothing that the iPhone does that the Android can't do. So when I take a photo with my Skyrocket or my Nexus, they both appear on they appear on both devices. And when I log onto my Google account, I can see my photos there. Same thing for documents. Google has done a good job of placing their applications throughout this phone. You got the Google Mail integration, Google Plus, Google Maps, Google everything. It's all in there. Google Music. So only thing you're really required to have is a Google account. So if you don't have a Google account, then you need to sign up for one to get your device going. If you do have Google and you use their products, you're familiar with Android. Well, when you say familiar with Android, you use Google products, then the phone will work well for you, and also your data. Your phone is backed up to Google. So if you lose your phone and you get a new phone, you need to restore it. You can restore your backups, your contacts. They're stored on Google. So if you lose your phone again, you can retrieve your contacts from Google. And as you can see, it also integrates Facebook, and you can once you download your contacts, they're all there. As with all Android products, they're a little more open, a little more customizable, but they're not as open as you think, because the carriers, they do have a lot to say what goes on the devices. From one device to the next, there's certain things that are available on one device that's not available on another Android device. So, for example, one of Google's big selling points is a Google Wallet, which is not available on the Nexus, which is kind of odd considering that it's meant to be a Google flagship phone. So you wonder who had more say in the design of the phone, as well as some of the components. They aren't top notch, such as a camera. But then again, like I said earlier, I mean, 8 megapixels, 5 megapixels. It's not that. It's not nothing. It's not anything to lose sleep over. Besides that, it's a solid phone. If you're in the market for a new phone, I definitely consider this phone over other phones, or the Skyrocket, which I showed you earlier. But it's a very nice phone. In closing, I think this is a very well-built phone. It's impressive. One of the best on the market right now. Since I use Google products, it's very easy to use, convenient. I'm not a fan of, not a Verizon fan, so I prefer to have the HSPA Plus version. Also, since I travel out of the country a lot, having an HSPA phone that's global, GSM, it's more convenient for me. So that's the thing to consider when buying this. On contract, the Nexus is $299, but if you get the HSPA version, GSM global, then it's gonna set you back about $650.